Proud Ambazonians, Papa Ayah Paul Ebinye, he don't talk say, na only one thing they wey Cameroon fit do am, call the people, make they decide for themselves, whether they want be with the French people or they no want be. Na any man get a decision for take na by force. So na only that one thing they Cameroon fit do am, make we call them, make Cameroon government call people, make they decide if they want stay or they no want stay. This
the killing. Sisiku is there, is standing his ground. In court recently, he said he's not a Cameroonian, that he's an Ambazonian. And Maurice Kamto is one of, the best intellectuals Cameroon has ever produced. Recently, he went out calling on people to support our foundation, seeing what we are doing. So I want to go to talk about their merits and demerits, because that's not... If they were before me in court, I will listen to the witnesses and come out with a judgment. But this is not the case. I'm not a lawyer, mind you. Oh, for Cameroon, what can be my wish? Cameroon, the Anglophones voted to join the Francophones to form a state. Of their own volition, they were not forced to do it. We were not conquered. It is we who decided what they call reunification today. What can I wish for the Cameroon that we have today? Back to basics. Let us go back to our roots. Nobody should imagine that is all-knowing. I've said that before. Nobody should imagine that is all-powerful. I just don't understand what's wrong with people at times. Because every Sunday in Cameroon calling, we have desiderata, where they say, always, always, there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Nobody is all-powerful. Nobody is all-knowing. Nobody has more rights in Cameroon than others. We have Cameroon in equal shares. My wish for Cameroon is to have the kind of leadership that will understand these principles. And when people are in dissension, to call them and say, what can we do? What is the way forward? I have often said, especially when I was in politics, that democracy is the dissenting voice. What am I saying? If people are not allowed to have different opinions, it's no longer democracy. It's the worst dictatorship. Of course, people describe or define democracy as the dictatorship of the majority. But at least if the majority think in a certain direction, the minority can only accept the fact that the majority have so decided. But that does not mean that the minority should not say, this is how we think. This is our own opinion. There's only one thing for Cameroon to do today. Call the people. Let them decide. Anglophones decided that we should be in one nation. Is that your opinion today? If not, what next? Who are the people to decide whether Anglophones want to continue with, as a member of the same country or not? The Anglophones who decided to join are the only people who can decide whether to stay there or not to stay there. And that decision is to be taken by the people. Not the Anglophones in Yaoundé, who don't see beyond the tips of their noses, who only think about money. Anything on earth that is not human-centered is doomed. What matters is the human being. If anybody wants to hold otherwise, on the last day, when all your powers will be gone, when, as Shakespeare says, what is life? We fatten animals to fatten ourselves for the worms. When you are there, a meal for the worms, where your bodyguards will no longer mean anything. Nobody on earth can do anything about it. When you are in that useless state, permit that expression, phrase, useless state. Who will take care of you? The human being. No plane will wash your corpse. No ship will dig your grave. No amount of money in the bank will prepare a coffin for you. Even if you were a magician, you did all these things, then you got into the coffin, and you carried the coffin yourself while inside. You went and put it in the grave. You'll be feeling the soil. You send one hand and you are feeling the grave. The last soil you feel, the finger that pushed the soil will remain up. You will not have a decent burial. To sum up, Cameroonians, I've coined a word. When you include the Anglophones, I say Cameroonianese. The two people must sit and decide the future. Whoever thinks that he can use force is wasting the time. Up to today, I was still, in the secondary school, when Nigeria thought they had defeated Biafra, they are still on today. America went to Vietnam unsuccessfully. They went to Iraq unsuccessfully. They went to Pakistan unsuccessfully. They went to Afghanistan. Today they are withdrawing from Syria. Force can never ever restore peace. If you defeat the leader, another leader just comes up. It's just like in war. You defeat the commander, another commander simply comes up, and fighting goes on. Even if you win a ephemeral victory, you don't know what may happen later on. So the only lasting peace is when people sit, examine themselves, and agree on the way forward. In my manifesto of 2011, one of the main things I said was that Cameroon needs a Truth and Reconciliation Commission in the like of South Africa. We see the wrong we've done. We apologize, and life goes on. I have a friend who saw a girl he liked. He found out the church the girl was attending. He went to that church, and seeing where the girl sat, he knew the door the girl would likely take at the end of the service. He stood by that door. When the girl was passing, he just stepped on the girl's foot, and the girl pushed him. Bushman, he had prepared a white handkerchief, well starched and ironed. He removed it, and he did not just wipe the girl's shoe, but also the leg. Instead of him looking for the girl, it is the girl now who was looking for him. Today they are married and they have 7 children. Why this story? The fact that you told the girl, and you no longer say, Mama, I'm sorry, Mama. So trying to be almost American. I'm sorry. It was the girl now looking for him. You see what an apology can do. Just that word, or maybe a small phrase, I'm sorry. So we need that in Cameroon. And when I said so, of course, is to do I heard that somebody in Yaoundé said, it's ever Ayah. Even Ayamba is actually Ayah. Joy that they added in Ba pour confondre les esprits to do Ayah. It's because I love peace. I love people staying together. I saw how within a short time, because of its size, China got to the summit of the world, to the top of the world. I like when we are big. But being together in a big nation like Nigeria should be something voluntary. Nobody should use force to compel another to belong. You create a sense of belonging. You don't impose a sense of belonging. I recently made a comment on somebody's post that patriotism is not decreed. It is voluntary. It comes from the mind. So what is my wish for Cameroon, to summarize? Let to those who think that Cameroon belongs to them, and they think erroneously, because Cameroon was there before us. Cameroon will be there after us. We have no right to think that we are final. So those who have been working erroneously that they are final should sit down and think again. Invite Cameroonians and say, what do we do now to have peace back, to go back to normalcy? A federation? Separation? If the people decide, who are you to hold otherwise? I once volunteered that if they set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission and there was nobody, they should put me there without a salary and I'll do it. If today there's nobody who can bring Cameroonians together, let them create a conducive atmosphere and put me there without any salary, without any allowance. I'll see what we can do, either for us to continue being together or to go our separate ways. It's not Ayah to say whether we should stay together or go our separate ways, but the people would decide what is best for them. The longer this war lasts, the more they radicalize the people, the more hatred is entrenched, and the more difficult it's going to be to put an end to all the killing, put an end to all the suffering. My orphanage is overflowing. I came back from the orphanage just about 1.5 hours ago. We don't know where to put some of the people. No human being would see this and stay quiet, except there's no God's image and likeness in that person. That's my wish for Cameroon. And I wish it could be fruitful, so that, no,